Hello and welcome to AHLA's Speaking of Health Law podcast. I'm Rob Yates and I'm a healthcare governance and regulatory compliance advisor at Berkeley Research Group. We're back today with the Health Law Career Journey series, which is brought to you by the Early Careers Professional Council, or ECPC. Our goal here is to highlight the breadth of career paths in AHLA's membership and encourage those who are just starting their careers in health law to explore all the different possibilities in the space. Today, I'm excited to welcome Jennifer Michael from Berry Sims. Jennifer, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Rob. Thanks so much.
So let's just jump right into it. You're a partner at a big law firm here in DC. So what does a day in your life look like?
A day in my life. Well, I think like most lawyers, my days are rarely the same. Every day is kind of different. I am a healthcare regulatory lawyer. My practice focuses on fraud and abuse and regulatory compliance. So I sometimes am jealous of my transactional and litigation colleagues because, at a law firm, we have to bill our time. And as a regulatory lawyer, I'm constantly going from, matter to matter. My friend and I joke that we live and die by the point threes. Whereas my transactional and litigation colleagues often, spend their entire day on one task. And so their time entry is a lot easier. And sometimes it's challenging, you build that house of cards in your mind when you're analyzing an arrangement. And it can be challenging to switch from matter to matter and have to remember what are sometimes detailed, corporate structures or proposed arrangements and get back into the fraud and abuse analysis there. But I do a lot of front end compliance. So clients will reach out like, hey, I've got an idea for an arrangement. Can you help me structure it and make sure I stay on the right side of the fraud and abuse laws? Or they've already implemented an arrangement and maybe a vendor or a client is asking them about it, and I'll help them analyze it, sometimes talk with opposing counsel or counsel on the other side about why we believe it's okay. And then sometimes if the government comes knocking and asking questions, I will help with enforcement and investigations. So every day can be different.
Yeah, it's a common refrain in this space, I think. So I think it would be really helpful if you could break down kind of each step you took in your career path that you took to get here.
Sure. Well, somewhat, I think, non-traditional for a lawyer anyway. I graduated from college with an accounting degree. So I worked as a CPA for 4 years as an auditor at one of the big four. Back then it was the big eight. That wasn't a great fit for me. No one's like, yay, the auditors are here, right? So as I was, considering my career path and my choice, kind of regretting some of my decisions, I remembered that I had really loved the business law classes I had taken as an undergraduate and thought law school might be fun. That's the kind of the extent of the thought I put into it. I didn't have any lawyers in the family, didn't talk to any lawyers, watched some Ally McBeal, so that was helpful. Went to law school, and after my first year, I summered at a firm, and that I liked that firm because they had a communications law practice, and when I was at the accounting firm, I was in the group that was called ICE, which was Information, Communications, and Entertainment, which sounds like super glamorous, but really was just a bunch of telecommunications companies outside of the Beltway. So, I thought, I've been doing communications, so we'll check out this communication law practice, also not a good fit. Luckily, this firm also had, a number of healthcare lawyers, and I did some work for them, and it was like the light bulb went off. And I was like, this is where I should be. And apparently it wasn't a red flag back then for someone to change from being interested in communications law to health law. I think nowadays it seems like, graduates or even law students are expected to have an idea of what they want to focus on earlier and earlier. But luckily that wasn't the case for me. So I ended up going back to that same firm after my second year in law school, and focusing exclusively on healthcare that time, and then went on to work for that firm after I graduated for a little over 8 years, at which point a former colleague who had gone into the government let me know of an opening at HHS OIG in their industry guidance branch, which very rarely had openings. So that was a very exciting opportunity, and got hired, and had the privilege of working there for almost 9 years. I was started off as a line attorney. Most of my work there was on advisory opinions. You know, the industry guidance branch is the branch that issues all kinds of guidance to the industry, including advisory opinions, special fraud alerts, special advisory bulletins. It's also the branch that promulgated the new and modified safe harbors for value-based arrangements. So did mostly advisory opinions, worked on a couple special fraud alerts, which was fun, and then was promoted to deputy chief. And then my last couple years there, I served as chief of that branch. And I started to get the itch, try something new, and went back to private practice. Was at another firm for a couple of years, and then transitioned to Bass, Berry, where I've been for almost 2 years now.
So with all of that experience in mind, is there anything that you wish you could tell yourself going back in time to when you started your career?
Well, I'm a firm believer in the butterfly effect. So I don't think I would ever go back and like secretly tell myself to do something different or to not do something, because, then the course, I've watched enough movies to know that, that's not a good idea. But for, law students out there or young professionals, I think one important thing that they should think about is their definition of success. I think we're told for so long, in high school, you have to get really good grades and be on, captain of the football team or the debate team or in the marching band or whatever, take the AP courses so that you get into a good college, and then you get good grades in college so that you can go to the right law school, and success is very clearly defined. And then sometimes once you graduate, especially if you go to a firm, the path is pretty clear. And I think, that is certainly one definition of success, becoming a partner at a big law firm, but everyone has their own individual definition of success. What's important to you? How do you want to spend your time? Do you want to be a triathlete and maybe, work a little less, or are you, very, career minded and want to get that brass ring in the law firm? So, I think give that some thought, and periodically check in with yourself to make sure you're on the right trajectory. And also, sometimes your definition of success may change if you meet someone and have a significant other or a spouse, your priorities may change, or if you have kids, or if you get divorced. So lots of things can change, and they may change your priorities at work. So, I think that's one thing to be cognizant of. And also, of course, to build relationships and be curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions, or push back if you disagree with something, always respectfully, of course. But I think a big part of that, work from home is so convenient, and we all love it. It's great to be able to work in your jammies. But I think, it's also important to be both physically present and, mindfully present, to build those relationships, because they're going to be important throughout your career.
Absolutely. I think those are both really, really important points, and something I wish I would have learned earlier in my career. So that's, great advice.
Yeah, and I think, this ECPC part, this is a great way to be involved. Rob, you and I have spoken together on, a number of webinars, and I think, being curious and focusing on something, becoming an expert or a go-to person in something really can open a lot of opportunities for you as well.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Jennifer. I'm sure our membership is going to get a lot out of this. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Rob.